So next up on our list is Rocket Raccoon. And Raccoon. This minifigure was pretty interesting to do. Again, there wasn't really a whole lot for me to customize. Just give it like a different coat of paint and fix up the shoulder pads a little bit. Otherwise, this was pretty simple to do. For a long while, I wanted to do like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I never fully felt the need to do it. Since like the first movie passed and then the second movie passed. And then finally when Endgame showed up, it was just like we gotta do this. We gotta do at least Rocket and Nebula. So with this minifigure, it's pretty cool of how this minifigure was customized. Like you could see the printed detailing like on the torso is the same as the movie, and if this tail component wasn't here, the printing would match up with the waist pattern and up to the belt on the torso. As you can see, he also has like short legs that can bend, so like Atreus from God of War, which actually when the tailpiece was added, this is added here. Let me get Ant-Man to show you guys. He's just about the same size as like a regular minifigure with regular legs, which I thought was kind of funny. Funny. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I was putting that away. But anywho, with this figure, it's pretty cool of how they approached with this character, including like on the top you could see like he's got goggles on the top, which I thought were pretty cool. And there's again the printing continues on, and he's on the other arm, and then like you can see like with this tailpiece of how I painted it up a little bit to match it like in the movie, and the original like skin tone, or in this case fur tone, that they put for the character was like a light brown, which wasn't entirely accurate to the original Rocket, but was better than Lego's official Rocket. I don't know why, but still to this day, they are making Rocket Raccoons that are gray, that are like gray minifigures, which is why. At what point in any of the movies is Rocket gray? It's not. He's brown. So it's just like, why are you messing up his skin tone? I don't know why. But it was a little bit, it was kind of tedious to do that, especially around like the eyes. I kind of had to repaint them. Especially, and same thing with the ears. I kind of had to fix those as well. But once that was out of the way, the rest of the figure, it came out pretty good. So for the original person, for the original creator of how they approached this minifigure, I think they did a fantastic job of getting like all the printing correct, lining it up to the character, and all in all, just making this minifigure look pretty cool. So let's go on ahead to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Rescue. Ever since I saw Iron Man Armored Adventures, like back when I was younger, I wanted to see like Rescue make an appearance in the MCU, and when I saw like this armor in the theaters for the first time, it was just like freaking perfect for a showcase. And I had to get this one done. So, originally this was another custom that I got from Comic-Con. That it looked pretty cool. And it had like the detailing correctly and everything. The helmets though, it was very different. It was one of those like classic, like official Lego Iron Man helmets that they swapped the colors, replaced the red with blue and replaced the gold with silver. And it worked as like a substitution. I also saw that Lego officially announced that there was gonna be an official Rescue minifigure for like a wave two of Marvel superhero sets. But I couldn't wait that long to do the showcase. And originally for the minifigure itself, it was supposed to be like I would add in a couple of colors, like do a little recoloring and change up the helmet. Unfortunately though, I quickly realized that once again the printing was slightly off-centered, so I quickly realized that like I would have to completely repaint this in my own style. So I gave it like a brand new coat of blue paint. I then added in some molding clay for like the arms of like some of her gauntlet pieces, and you could see that my writing isn't that all great. Great, because I took a gel pen to write in Rescue as well as the numbers on the back. I also did gel pen for like some of the dots. That's on the back. Same thing with the gauntlets. I also had to look at a couple of references of like some photos of the rescue official minifigure, as well as also some of the action figures, especially for like the legs and the arms. They were a little bit trickier to do, but in the end, when I finally got it all done, this came out as a pretty good result. The headpiece, I don't want to show the head underneath, because I was trying to make like a Pepper Potts face piece. It didn't come out correctly. It got slightly messed up, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because at first it came out good, but then in the end things got bad, and finally I was just like, I don't. This is not gonna go good. This isn't good. So unfortunately, it kind of got messed up in the end. So for now, it's a temporary head. I'm planning on getting like a official Pepper Potts minifigure headpiece and put that on Rescue. But aside from that, I think this minifigure turned out pretty good. It was a little bit tricky on looking at the photos and getting like a basic idea of how to turn a movie character into a Lego character. But in the end, I think this came out pretty good. So before we move on to the big figs, let's go on to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Bucky Barnes as White Wolf instead of the Winter Soldier. This one I should go by pretty quickly because the only thing that I really did was I tried to like recolor the arm, but it pretty much looks the same. So this one will be like a custom review. Now with this character, I think is very cool. I love it how they gave him a brand new headpiece. I thought it was a little weird of how like Peter Quill and Winter Soldier shared kind of the same like headpiece. So to see him given like a brand new one, and I thought was pretty nice. It's also as well as a hairpiece. This one is like from the Star Wars Last Jedi sets with like the Luke Skywalker, like old man Luke Skywalker, which I thought was pretty cool. It really fits up with Bucky pretty well. I almost thought that like his beard was like a bit shaggier, but then when I double checked, it's just like, oh no, it's fine. No, it's fine. We're good. And so I was glad that I didn't have to do too much changes on those. They did like the detailing on the torso very well. I thought that was pretty good. Like on both on the front and on the back as well. Same thing with the legs. I'm glad that they got the color right for this, because I saw Lego officially did a White Wolf minifigure, but it was like one of those limited edition box sets that contains 4 minifigures. One of those figures was White Wolf, but for some reasons they felt the need that his pants were almost like a grass green, or maybe like a don't know what I would call it, but maybe an army green. But the pants were green. It was just like, at what point in the movie were his pants green? It's green. So it's nice that with this custom, some of how like they changed it up, give it like a good detailing, and then as you can see like some of the, they've added in some of the straps that he put onto the side, and this gun and the gun that they gave him is much more accurate to this one than the previous weapons that I used. I did change the gun since then, but this one is much more accurate here to Bucky, and with the printing that they did. I did it for the vibranium arm. I thought was pretty cool as well. So all in all, with this character in general, I felt that it was very nice of how they approached this character. So it was very, very cool. Before we move on to the big figs. There we go. I'm gonna show you guys like some of the minifigures that I didn't fully customize, but I did make some changes to. So first up is War Machine. As you can see, is pretty much the same figure that I had beforehand, only now he's added in like a couple of weapons that I wanted to add in beforehand. I found these like in my Lego bin, and these belonged to a Mega Bloks War Machine that I finally I cut off out of some of like the handle parts and then glued them onto the arm. So he's got like these mini guns. Of course, he's got like his machine gun here, and then with this weapon, it was just something that I thought would fit with War Machine. It's pretty much like I took this gun, like this blaster piece from Tenkai Knights. I then took a rocket launcher from the Mega Bloks, cut off a piece of it, super glued it on here, on here and made it for where, like, it could fire bullets from here and shoot rockets from here. I was gonna put in, like, the mini machine gun, that they had, and that it had as well, but apparently I lost it at some point, so it's just like, okay. But all in all, I didn't really customize War Machine because I felt like the armor in the movie is pretty much the same, except for the final battle for where he changes it up into an Iron Patriot kind of outfit. But I don't think it was called that, but it definitely had the color scheme of it. Okay, next up, very quickly, is Scarlet Witch. Pretty much her character hasn't changed at all. The only thing that's really changed is coloring on the hairpiece. That I matched it up for Infinity War. If I were to make some changes to this character, I'd add in, like, some more detailing on, like, the arms, maybe on the legs as well. But when I saw that there wasn't really a whole lot I could do with it, I just left her as it was. But that's okay. It's okay, because it's one of those things where it's like, it's simple, but it can match up to the character pretty nicely. And then last is Wasp. For where pretty much the whole character in general is the same, except for the wings. The wings, I wasn't fully satisfied with them because they were like the fairy wings. So I changed up the wings to match it up more to Wasp in MCU. And with the final results, I think this came out pretty good. I still can't take the helmets off of the head, unfortunately, but that's the price to pay. When you're coming up with new ideas for minifigures. But all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with how, like, these small changes came out, and I hope you guys are too. So let's go on ahead to the big figs. So next up on our list is, of course, the Incredible Hulk, or I guess Professor Hulk, as we would call him in this movie, because now Bruce Banner and the Hulk are now as one, the brain and the brawn together. Now this Hulk is it was pretty interesting to do, and like with the others, there wasn't really a lot of work for me to do, because the big fig pretty much came in, as it was in the movie. Like, as you could see, the detailing that they put in, of matching up the detailing on the back, matching it up like with the arms for like his suit in the movie. You're probably wondering, like, why are there two different colors of purple on this figure? It was a weird thing involving the paint. So a couple of changes that I did was that I changed up the Hulk's like skin tone. It actually turned out much better than the last Hulk. I then also went back and then redid like the face detailing to match it up. I did have to glue the head in because it was very loose, and I didn't want to like the head popping off at any point, so I had to change it up. But anyways, back to the purple. So I don't know why it did this, and I ran this same problem in with one of my other projects. For some reason, I had like I have a violet, like a dark purple or purple kind of color, and when it was like wet, it blended in pretty well with this purple. It wasn't perfect, but it did blend it up pretty well. But when it dried, you could barely see it. Like, it looked almost like it was almost like a brownish black for some reason. I don't know why it came out like that. And it was just like, it's like, why are you doing this? Why? And I tried like adding in a couple of layers of paint, like maybe I can make this work. Nope, it didn't work at all. And it was just like, oh boy. So I wound up changing the purple entirely. It's closer to like the rest of the color of the character, but not entirely, unfortunately. That's the only downside that I found when customizing this character, but aside from that, the rest of the figure, it turned out pretty good. I added in a little bit of clay on to his feet, to build it up with the rest of the outfits, because when this all came in, it pretty much was just, it had like the iconic like ripped pants and everything, and that's cool and all. I thought that was pretty cool, and cool of like a way of how like can show like reusing the character, but in a different way. I did add in, but I added in the clay to like match up with the character. Finding like detailing stuff for this character was a huge pain. It was a huge pain because I couldn't find accurate photos of like what Hulk's outfit looks like. So when like adding in like purple up here, purple on the wrists, and like some coloring on the feet. If that's incorrect, I apologize for that. But it was very difficult on finding accurate photos of a character that's in a movie that has not been that's not out on DVD yet. If it was out on DVD, or if I had at least gotten like some better photos of the film, it would have turned out a lot better. But aside from that, I did the best I could, and I'm not really complaining too much, because all in all, I think this character came out as a pretty good result in the end, so I was pretty glad for that. So let's go on ahead to our next big fig. So last up on our list, minifigure-wise, is the Mad Titan Thanos. Now, when doing this character, it was very interesting to do. Of how to approach this character. So when Infinity War first came out, I didn't want to do Thanos, because I hated the guy for erasing half of the universe, including some of our favorite characters. So at the time, I didn't want to make this character. But then after Endgame, it was just like, okay, we'll do this character, and we might as well do it. And we're gonna do the rest of the characters. We might as well do this one properly. Alright. So for this one, I had to like purchase a Thanos figure from eBay, and I waited for weeks and weeks, and I had already finished up the rest of the characters. So it got to the point where it's just like, okay, if this character isn't gonna show up, I'm just gonna do the showcase with the rest of the figures. Then I'll edit Thanos, maybe do a video on him. If not, just upload some photos on Instagram. And sure enough, the next day, he came in, and it was just like, you little... So after he came in, I took a look at the character. I then also looked at some photos of an action figure Thanos, and also some other customs that others have done like Thanos, as sort of like an idea of like, okay, how can I approach this character? So once that was done, I got a pretty accurate idea, and my brain sparked in with a few ideas of what to do. So his head, I sand off the original helmet a little bit, and then added in some clay into it. I also changed up his face for like, hang on, let me position the light slightly. There we go. You can kind of see a little bit better on some of the face work that I did. I tried my best to not damage the original face work, but in the end, I wound up completely messing it up. So I decided, like, okay, how about we just do some gel pen and fix it up. And this was actually the original like experiments with gel pen. So like when turning it onto the back, and I might need to get this dude off the pedestal, so you could see the rest of the detailing work. As you can see, like some of the rest of the work here, for where you can see the detailing going all the way down in his back, as well as like the sides, on like his shoulder armor. This one was an experiment with gel pen, because I figured that, like, since we don't really like the character in general, and all, since he's a bad guy, it wouldn't hurt if I did gel pen and then I accidentally messed it up at any point in time. But after doing the gel pen and then putting on the clear spray paint, this came out pretty good. So it was just like, okay, Thanos, you did well. Here's also like some molding clay like on his arms to represent, like, again, some 3D elements, and also some molding clay on his fists for, like, you can move them slightly, some more detailing on the wrists, and then the detailing on the chest, I pretty much kept intact, because I thought it was a pretty good detailing work of how Thanos looks like in the movie, so I didn't damage it too much. And all in all, even though I don't really like the character because he's a supervillain and everything, and especially like all the stuff that he's done, I'd say that the custom went with this. It's not nearly as awesome as some of the other customs that I've seen, but it does pull off like the representation of Thanos. So I will say that I think this came out pretty good, especially considering since I've done very few big figs on this channel. Like, I don't know, for instance, you guys have seen the custom like Hulks that I did for Avengers. I've done a Gorilla Grodd for my dad during one of his birthdays. And who could forget the Brute Boris from Bendy and the Ink Machine? In fact, now that I look back at it, detailing wise, this one takes the and this one takes the cake. Clay-wise, Brute Boris takes the trophy for that one. And plus, this one did provide a new idea for detailing for future minifigures. So all in all, I'd say this came out pretty good. Now, before we wrap up this showcase, there's one more thing that I want to show you guys, and I wanted to wait until after they're doing like Thanos and Hulk. So let's get Hulk back, and I'll show you guys what I did. So before wrapping the showcase up, last but not least, of course, we have the Infinity Gauntlets. We got two of these gauntlets, the Endgame Gauntlet and the Infinity War Gauntlets. With these things, an idea sparked in my mind while working on Thanos of like how to approach this character. So in the past, I've seen a couple of other people do Infinity Gauntlets. There was, of course, like the iconic Lego's Infinity Gauntlet, which which I thought was pretty cool of how like they designed it, especially of how like adding in the stones for like you could take them out and then put them in and to like have Thanos like collect them all. But I thought the gauntlet itself was like a bit too big, a bit too clunky, and I've seen some other Infinity Gauntlets for people have like taken the big fists and then just like painted the detailing on, which I thought were pretty cool. I thought they were pretty cool. Like it represented like, okay, that's Thanos, but I wanted to try something a little bit interesting. So here's what I did. Okay, Harold, refocus. Thank you, Harold. Okay, so bring it up with Hulk first, because he's not fully connected to the floor. But anyways, when looking at this character in the movie, say for instance, I wanted to recreate the scene for where Hulk wields the gauntlet, snaps his fingers, and brings everyone back. The way how I would do that is that I take like the Hulk hand. Here we go. Get rid of that and put that aside for now. And then I take in like Endgame gauntlets, and then put that on like that, and then boom, he can wield the gauntlet. And plus this way we can get a nicer look at the detailing. Okay, Harold, refocus, Harold. Thank you, Harold. Like as you can see, like some of the detailing work on the gauntlet. It was a little bit trickier, but much better than like trying to find detailing work on the rest of the outfits. Oddly though, when looking at the Infinity Stones, they almost look like M&Ms for some reason. And that was sort of a challenge I approached with both gauntlets, and I'll explain that when we put on the Infinity War Gauntlet. So that's Endgame Gauntlets. Now with Infinity War Gauntlets, like we have the Mad Titan here. Like say for instance, we want to see him with okay, that actually came out a little bit better than the other one. But say for instance, we want him to wield the other Infinity Gauntlets. So we take this gauntlet, bring up his hand, put in a little bit of force, and then boom, the gauntlet fits on. So he can now, if he wanted to snap the universe. Luckily for us, he cannot move his hands, so we are free. So with the gauntlets, that's about they came out a lot faster than I anticipated. I thought I was going to be at this for like a couple of days, or maybe longer, and it did take a couple of days, but not super long. All I really did was just like recoloring, and then like a few layers of each paint, especially the gold, and then once I was done, applied on the detailing, and then applied on the stones, which I had to get a couple of photos of like both of the stones, both of the gauntlets to get like a good idea. Okay, Harold, refocus, there we go. And in the end, the gauntlets came out as a pretty cool result. Sorry, almost hit. It's in my pad. So, say like this, reposition, zooming, nice. So all in all, I think these gauntlets came out pretty cool, and nice part about it is that, if I don't want the gauntlets on, if I don't want the gauntlets on the characters, I can easily take them off, and then put on the regular fists. I wanted to add this in as like a special like sort of design to really give it that sort of magic of how like putting the gauntlets on and then taking them off, just like in the movie. That's like in the movies. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea to incorporate that to the showcase. Nice. The stones are pretty much like just clay that I've added in and then just painted up a bit. If I were to change them, I would try to do like get like small gemstones and then put them on, and then like on the gauntlets like one at a time. at a time, but I don't have like any gem. I don't have like any gems that are small enough at that size that like I could put on, and then make sure that like they stayed on. So I did have to make a couple of cuts with that. But other than that, with the final results, I think this came out I think this turned out as like an interesting approach of the Infinity Gauntlet and the Gauntlets. And all in all, I'd say this is pretty good. So let's go ahead and wrap this showcase up. And that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. Finally, we're done. We're done with Endgame. Woo! Though, if you're wondering of like, what about doing some of the other characters, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Shuri, Okoye, Valkyrie, Captain Marvel, and her other outfits. Honestly, okay, here's a few things. For the Guardians of the Galaxy, I did do the Guardians, but I want to do them for like their own showcase. So they'll all be in a different showcase. I'm also, plus I need to get started on Mantis, and then finish up a couple of versions of Groot. I'm making 3 different versions of him. So I'm still working on that. For Okoye and Shuri, I want to do them for like a Black Panther showcase. And Valkyrie, I need to do at another date, cause when doing this showcase, I already had a bunch of characters in mind, and up to the point where I accidentally forgot a few by accident. So unfortunately, when realizing that, to the point, it was just like, wait, there were these, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So I will get to those characters. But they will all be in their own showcases. Plus, this one is big enough as it is, and I had to make a few cuts. Though, for Captain Marvel's second suit, I honestly didn't want to do it. I want to do it for the showcase, and the main reason was because, well, 2 reasons. One, the outfit is pretty much the same, just reverse colors. So so her suit in the movie is mostly red, little hints of blue. And 2, I was disappointed with Captain Marvel in the movie. I loved her performance in her solo movie, but in Endgame, I was not satisfied with Captain Marvel's appearance in that. She was given very little screen time. She only showed up for like a little bit in the beginning to like fight Thanos, only to realize that like the gauntlet was useless and the stones were destroyed. She then later on appeared in like a different outfit, and then with a haircut, and then only showed up in the final battle. And that was such a disappointment, because ever since Infinity War, we were built up with like so much hype that like this character was gonna come in and defeat Thanos, only to realize that she wasn't given that much screen time. So that, I felt, was kind of a disappointment. And since that happened, I honestly didn't feel like the super needs to do that, and to do her suit from that movie. If she does wear that suit, like when Captain Marvel 2 comes out, if it's in that outfit, I will consider on doing that suit. But otherwise, I felt like it wasn't a huge importance to the showcase. But all in all, aside from like some of the flaws, aside from like some of the changes that I had to make with these characters, all in all, I thought this showcase was very, very good. And yeah, pretty much it. And big shout outs to all the people who did like the original customs, like the original printings on like Cap, Widow, Ronan, Thor, Ant-Man, Rocket, Nebula, Thanos, Hulk, a whole 9 yards. They did a lot of work on these figures. And I gotta say that this was a pretty cool showcase. So if you guys want me to do like some more Marvel characters, aside from the people I just mentioned, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And I'll see what I can do. I'll get back into the flow of things with some other projects in mind. I still need to finish up the buildable project, and then I sparked in a couple of new ideas for some new showcases in the future. So I'm really looking forward to how this turned out. But if you guys want to see like some of the other Marvel characters that I've done, such as like the first Avengers showcase, Logan, Lara, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, you can check all of their showcases out in my LEGO Arts playlist. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. It really helps us work on Let's Plays, LEGO projects, and we're mainly here to have some fun. So anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below which share your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's a half of the road. Ow! Whoa! Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time when the ice moon rises.
Bye.